Hello, everyone. Welcome to Talkative's Adversarial Fair. FYI, we are the Adversarial Fair. We're adversarying against Talkative, because Talkative in the Pilgrim's Progress book is a guy that's just he's all talk, but he's no do. He knows big words like post-millennialism. Is that a big word?
Post-millennialism.
How do you say it?
Post-millennialism.
Okay. I don't think that's right, but so yeah. So he knows all the big words but none of the actions. And so that's what we all want to be. So that's why we're the Adversarial Fair. I just felt like we have this theme, where we keep using the names of like the bad guys of Pilgrim's Progress and people don't get it. Like
Time for an explanation.
Yeah, like there was this guy on Twitter I was talking to, and I can't remember what we were talking about, but I was kind of arguing with him, and he just last thing he says is like, "Well, I'm not gonna talk to a guy who has the Mr. Worldly Wiseman in his name. Like, what are you trying to do?" And while I can understand it can be kind of confusing, I feel like if you just
thought about it for a second.
Yeah, it's like, okay, one, who besides Christians are gonna read Pilgrim's Progress? Two, if you are like an atheist or some adversary against Christianity, really you're gonna use Wiseman? I don't know.
Well, and you have only to watch your videos to see you're not being Mr. Worldly Wiseman.
Yeah, that's true. And it's like I'm also defending the faith. I thought I was. I don't know. Or not defending the faith. I was just talking on the faith like I was a Christian. I was just can you think? I don't know. Anyway. Anyway, so we got stuff to talk about. We're going to talk about some songs I like. I don't know what Kevin has in store. I think he's just looking to be questioned.
Yep, I'm in the hot seat today.
We're mainly going to be talking about Spider-Man Lotus, the fan film that came out, because that needs to be discussed. It's because I am a Spider-Man fan. We just got finished recording a Spider-Man video, and I'm a huge Spider-Man fan, and this film has been everywhere for several reasons. So yeah, I want to get too into it, but just describe your feeling when you're watching Spider-Man Lotus.
Impatient for the end to come. Not even because I had anything particular else to be doing. Just though it was 2 hours of not anything happening. So yeah, I kept looking back at the time scrubber and seeing that it still wasn't over. And
yeah.
So that was the primary feeling.
I walked in and they were watching it, and they were only halfway through. I'm like, oh my gosh. I bet Kevin felt like it was 2 hours already.
Yes, halfway through, and I didn't realize until you said something, and you made it all the worse by pointing out you have a whole hour left of this.
Okay, so let's get into it. Yeah, we'll come back to that, but so I got like little categories we're gonna be going down through. Also, FYI, I should have said this earlier. This isn't really like a advice podcast. It's more like discussion. It's more like fellowship. So if we say something, I just realized we did not state the mission of this podcast. This is the first episode. We're figuring things out. Basically, the mission of the podcast is just we get to talk about art, things we've just been consuming lately, and we get to talk about it as friends through a biblical worldview. And, just make sure that we're grounded in that. And we just have several opinions and thoughts that we can't necessarily shove into a detailed video, scripted video. So because of that, it's more fellowship based. It's more discussion. We're just talking. So if we say something and we kind of screw something up, please come talk to us. Be a part of the fellowship that we're having. This is just discussion.
Excellent.
Okay, so I just want to talk about what we're working on. What are you working on, Kevin?
Let's see. I will be working on the episode we just recorded,
That's
hopefully, and the other one that is late already, I think. So lots of editing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to work on my band's songs. We have a show coming up.
Can you describe that in more detail? This is my chance to plug you.
This is my chance to plug me. I play with a band called Pax Simile. That's Pax, one word, Simile, next word. And it's a great group of musicians. And Michael, our fearless leader and my musical boss, he's one of the best songwriters I know. So if you're in the Denver area, or if you're not in the Denver area and you have money to spend, come see us on Sunday. We'll be playing at 6.
Where?
Globe Hall
Okay.
in Denver. So we will be joined by some other bands, the quality of which I actually cannot speak to because I've barely listened to any of them. But
I've been to one of their shows, and I was amazed by their performance.
nice.
And then, as you know, the band comes down, and I'm trying to find Kevin, trying to talk to him. He's very famous, so it was hard to talk to him.
There were 12 people at that show, maybe.
But yeah, so they get off, and then the next band comes on, and I'm just so severely disappointed by their performance. My expectations were raised so high because of Facsimile. They're the best band I heard there. I wasn't there for the whole show, but best band I heard.
Well, that's very flattering. You're probably right as well, but very flattering.
Very skilled. I've been working for Bradbury Studios. If you guys don't know, I have this other channel. I haven't used it in a while, except recently, but it's kind of where all my writing projects, all my film projects go. And so we're going to be starting this new series called The Weather Blooper. And so I'm working on... So what's going on right now is it's only episode 1. We're still on. I just posted episode 1A, and that's literally episode 1, part 1. It's very Attack on Titanfall, I know. Not on Titanfall, Attack on Titanfall. We were talking about Titanfall earlier last night. And then so next is going to be 1B, which is part 2, and then 1C. So episode 1 is going to be in 3 parts. I'm just doing that to raise anticipation and kind of get you a feel for the world before I shove you into the rest of the mess. So it's kind of comedic. It's comedic, but also kind of a drama and a disaster movie, essentially.
Ooh.
Yeah.
The weather can be pretty disastrous.
You know, and FYI for everyone listening and who's seen the video, I did not steal the idea from Studio C. Micah
Studio C stole the idea from you.
Exactly. They reached into the future because they have that ability and took my idea. Yeah, Micah hands me the Studio C videos. Like, I'm pretty sure you stole that video. And I'm just sitting there watching Studio C. I'm like,
Well, everyone's going to think I did.
yeah. I was so mad. But it's not like a one-off video like a Studio C skit video. It's a series. And so I'm still confident in it. And I hope people enjoy it.
It was pretty funny. It made me laugh, which is the funny prereq.
Okay. Okay, so I want to talk about stuff that we just kind of recommend. Stuff we've been watching, listening to, things that we've just been consuming. What do you recommend to our audience?
I recommend Sea of Thieves. It's a game where you're a pirate. We were just playing it last night, and it's very fun. And actually, that is closely related with another recommendation I have. The holiday today, International Talk Like a Pirate Day. It's very important, very fun. Every September 19th, I believe it is. Yes, September 19th.
So what it is today?
Yep. So
Time has no meaning to me anymore.
it's a great excuse to wear eye patches and get limbs amputated so you can get peg legs and stuff and to talk like a pirate, of course. So I also, let's see, I'm consuming lots of funk music. Go listen to Liquid Dreams by Dream Machine, I think the band's called.
I think I've heard of that.
It's very... I was listening to it at work and almost hurt myself probably trying to, use kitchen utensils and dance at the same time. So, yeah, and Wolfpack, of course. I have been listening to Wolfpack forever, and they're still great.
There's this one. I remember, I think Kevin had control of the music during, like, we were playing something. And I said, hey, that's Wolfpack, isn't it? And Kevin had the biggest smile on his face.
I'm so proud of my musically cultured friends.
No, he's not. No, he's not. Because my taste usually goes like this.
I didn't say you were one of my culturally musical friends.
That's fair. Anything else?
Let's see.
If you couldn't tell, I'm far more prepared than Kevin is.
Yeah, I'm a slow thinker. I just finished reading the Dr. Fu Manchu novels. I'm not sure if I recommend them or not. It's just a lot of pages of Asian racism.
Oh my gosh.
There's the villain.
Please don't say that.
The villain is basically...
It's fine. I'm Japanese.
He's just an evil Asian Chinese doctor guy. And he does some bad stuff. But the protagonists seem to hate that he's Chinese more than they hate that he does evil
When
stuff.
was this written?
Oh, it was in like the 20s or something.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
So, I mean, yeah. So, some fun, good versus evil situations, but just look out for the racism.
Nice. I've actually been I've told you this, but we're on a podcast and we have to say things. But I've also been doing some 1920s reading as well. I've been recently like getting really into not necessarily F. Scott Fitzgerald's writing, but just kind of like his history. Like the dude was crazy. Not as crazy as his wife. His wife was sent into an insane asylum, and Fitzgerald's writing is very biographical. So his wife was institutionalized, and then he wrote a book, this like romance where this guy's wife gets sent into an insane asylum because he cheated on her with a like 19-year-old girl.
Classic.
So I've been going through that audiobook. I've been listening to less. Lately I've been I haven't been listening to it lately because for some reason the Audible app, it like burns through my phone. I listen to it and then I feel my pants getting hotter.
What? Maybe you should listen to it with your phone out of your pocket.
Oh, I do, and I hold it like this, and it feels like I cooked bacon on it.
Oh.
It's weird. I'm not sure if it's my phone. I mean, the new iPhone's coming out, so this thing is counting its days.
How old is that?
I think 2020 is when I got it.
Appliances used to last 25 years.
Mm-hmm. Until they decided we like getting more money, so we're gonna just intentionally break these things.
Yeah, respect, actually. That's pretty smart.
Capitalism. Let's go. Okay, so I've been dying to talk about these two artists. I'll talk about Wilt first. Wilt's one of my favorite bands ever at the moment, right next to Facsimile, of course.
Yeah.
Wilt has like 60,000 monthly listeners. And they just released this new song that I adore. I'm trying to... Here, let me find it so I can have... Kevin, have you listened to the song?
Not in its entirety.
Yeah, so let me show you some of it, and then I just kind of want you to tell the audience what you think. Check it out. Giving him my Raycon. We're
Oh,
sponsored
yeah.
by Raycon. No, we're not.
If
But-
only.
Okay. Let me know if you want me to turn it down. I don't have one in. I'm just raising the volume arbitrarily.
Not too loud yet.
But yeah, the riff is the new song that came out, and it's really it's not a complicated song, but lately I've been having a great appreciation for songs that are really simple. I don't like talking about music, FYI, because I don't know a ton about music. That's why I like Kevin being right here, so he can say smart things that
So
I
I
can't.
can spew my seemingly based opinions.
So I don't really like talking about it, and I say kind of stupid things. But yeah, I really like how simple Wilt is. You know, I listen to a ton of metal. I listen to a lot of guitar stuff where it's just filled with guitar instrumentals, and I love that stuff. But also, I like it when it's just kind of simple, and like the riff is just the rhythm is just so satisfying. It's not like the most skillful song out there. I still think they're very skillful players, in my opinion. I'll let Kevin finish.
The most skillful players only demonstrate that fact every once in a while.
Okay. So yeah, but it's just very satisfying chords, very satisfying rhythm, and Chelsea Rifkin is the singer's name. She has, oh my gosh, beautiful, beautiful vocals. I love her voice. It's like there's just some parts in like every single song. They only have 5 songs out. They don't even have an album out. But there's just parts in every single song where I just get chills because it's just her voice just hits this weird frequency that just
Tickles the eardrums.
yeah, I love it. And then and then their choruses are normally like super loud, super proud, and then their verses are dun 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 dun. It's very somber, and it's just Wilt is. I understand that Wilt is a very biased opinion of mine. Like I love them so much, but everyone else doesn't really get them around me. No one really gets them to the extent I do, because it's just Wilt is a combination of all the kind of stuff I love. They're a grunge band, so they got that grunge. I mean, grunge is like the little baby son of metal. So it's just that kind of crunch, that distortion, that bleh. But to a lesser extent, it's more pop-like. That's not pop. Not really the best.
Dark, grungy pop.
Yeah. And they have that kind of somber stuff I love. That very 2000s kind of acoustic dun 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 feel. And there's just a combination of everything I love. Oh, that's the next song. What'd you think, Kevin?
Oh, well, not all your taste is. That was pretty nice.
Nice.
I can appreciate the songwriting already just through a single Raycon. So I'll have to listen to it on a nice system and then critique the production.
Yeah. Kevin's that's how you know he's smart. He wants to know the production of things. He wants to know the inner workings.
Yeah, I want to be able to critique and tear down any creative input that went into this song.
But all those listening, Kevin is going to get a show soon based on music. But we're waiting for our new studio. We'll just say it.
Yep. It's called The Pretentious. So membership at the Pretentious Lounge is very exclusive, very VIP. So just hope you get an invitation from me. Otherwise, oh well, you're up a crick.
Dang. Another thing I want to talk about is this new album by this even lesser known artist, Leia Senior. I think it's just one person. I'm not sure if it's a whole band. But I'm looking at her Spotify. It has like 18,000 monthly listeners, and she just released this new album that I think it was an instant favorite of mine. Not because like, how do I say this? Like, I really like her music. She's like this folk singer, and I really love her guitar stuff and her piano stuff. Some of it's very kind of Beatles-like, and then other stuff, I don't know how to describe it. Like I said, I don't like really like talking about music. That's Kevin's department. But but the whole album, and I really more attracted to the lyrics of it. The whole album is talking about how this music stuff is not making her famous at all, and there's no way she can make a living off of it.
If she expected it would,
Yeah,
she was living under a rock.
yeah. But it's the whole album is just about her telling the world that she's just doing this because she has the talent for it. She's not doing it for fame or wealth, and it's very clear to her now that she has to work a day job. And it's just, she's just doing it because she has the talent for it. And it's such a beautiful album. I think anybody who is a small artist needs to listen to that album. One, just because I want her to be famous. I love her so much.
Help her quit her day job.
Yeah, help her quit her day job so she can make more music. But also just, it's very inspiring and it's very relatable. If I'm kind of a self-proclaimed writer. Kevin's a musician, and so I'm in this circle where we're these artists, but we're living on a dream.
For now.
For now, maybe.
One day we might not even be living in a dream.
Maybe, or we'll be like Leia Senior, just like 5 years in, saying about how we're never gonna make it. But yeah, so like she goes on to talk about like maybe even if she should be famous, because she's like, oh, I'm so gracious when the attention's on me, but what happens when that's all gone? It's like that lyric hits pretty hard, I think. And then she goes on to talk about how, the song "The Fig" is probably one of my favorite on the album, where she's talking about how she, what am I thinking? Yeah. So, like, she's discouraged, from doing music, and people are telling her, she's living a pipe dream and she shouldn't be wasting her time, or she has wasted a ton of time. But at the exact same time, it's to this point where if she doesn't do it, she's also feel like she's doing something wrong.
Yep.
Like and I was listening to it on the drive over here. I was thinking about it, and that's kind of like the reason why I started the whole editorial, the whole Mr. Worldly Wasn't editorial, because I just graduated high school, I started college, I started working, and then for like 6 months, I felt like I was doing nothing. I was working on my book, but that was taking a lot of time, a lot more time than I wanted to. I was feeling a little less passionate about it, and so I was just feeling like I am wasting my talents, because I feel like we're artists. You're a musician. I'm hopefully a writer.
You're a writer.
It's weird to say stuff like that.
You haven't been paid to be a writer yet, but you're a writer.
No. But it's like I truly feel that God has given us these abilities, these gifts, or at least these passions, and I felt like I wasn't using them correctly for the kingdom. I don't know. Have you ever felt like that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. School kind of has a way of making you feel that way. Honestly, college. I mean, because you're using, if you're going for creative endeavors, you have professors telling you to use your creative juices, but not for the things you believe in necessarily. So you can feel pretty creatively useless sometimes.
Yeah.
Or if you're busy, living and paying bills, or for those farther down the road of life, raising families, then you might also feel like I'm not using my creative juices for the kingdom or
Yeah.
whatever. But that's kind of a different situation because you're using maybe not creative juice, but just energy and your ability to work to provide for a family
Yeah.
or to do other ministries. So producing creative works is not the end all be all for sure, which can be
Yeah.
hard for creatives to be okay with.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, so go listen to The Music I Make by Leia Senior. It's all sorts of just wow, this is where I'm at. But I'm happy. It's like, we're doing the editorial, you're doing, and even with all the stuff, like job, like school, I'm still doing school. It's all there for the glorification of God. So,
The mundane is still important.
yeah. So it's all there to glorify the Lord, and that's the comfort that we can all take in. Okay, anyway, let's get to the actual video before Kevin has to leave. Or not the actual video, the actual meat of what we want to talk about. Or what we are more planning on talking about. Okay, so this section I call what we've been consuming. And so I watched Spider-Man Lotus I finished it like a week ago, I think.
You didn't finish it in one sitting?
No,
Week.
well, no. I finished it a week ago. I think I started like 2 days after it came out.
Dang.
I don't know when that was. I took a week break from it. I got like 30 minutes in, could not stomach it. Watched it again, 15 minutes in, could not stomach it. Waited another time until like last week when I needed to start writing things, where I was writing the Amazing Spider-Man script, and then I was saying, hey, we're going to do it for the podcast. So I finally need to finish this. And I watched the rest through. It was seriously the hardest thing I've had to watch.
And you've been around.
Yeah, I've seen Eraserhead. I made that for a specific person to hear.
Well, maybe there's multiple Eraserhead fans in our audience.
That's true.
How low are the chances? Quite low, probably. But
Okay, and then so Kevin, you just watched it, so you have the most fresh ideas. So what do you think?
it is a respectable effort by normal schmoes to make a movie, I'd say. I'm impressed by anything of that scale that isn't backed by Warner or Sony.
Yeah.
So, does that mean it wasn't terrible? No, it was awful. So, yeah, it feels almost sacrilegious to stamp the Spider-Man name on something and then have no Spider-Man things happen. That's not true. There's like 10 minutes at the beginning where he throws some guys against some cars.
Yeah.
And then that's it. The rest feels like a weird, if Batman was in a Euphoria episode.
Well, okay, so I have something to say about that as the resident Spider-Man fan of the whole editorial.
He's very proud of that title.
I am. I got so excited writing the Amazing Spider-Man script. That review's coming out someday. I don't know. It's gonna be late, but so it was. As a Spider-Man fan, you understand that a lot of the most popular comics, are the stuff where there's not a ton Spider-Man stuff happening, like the most action-y parts. Like where Peter's going to see the sick kid. That is a very, very famous comic. And that's what it was partially adapting. Where he's a sick kid. Spider-Man goes to see him. There's not the Gwen Stacy drama behind it, but and we'll get into that. But yeah, and from what I remember of the comic, I should have read it before I came here, but it is fairly well adapted. But
I was just stupid, but when I was watching that, I did not realize the kid was sick until after the entire interaction. So I just was under the impression that Spider-Man had jumped into a random apartment and started talking to the kid in there, and it's like, Why?
That's actually fair. I think I only knew that because I knew the comic.
Yeah, I did not know the comics, and they didn't show the IV bag until after they had like 30 minutes of conversation. So, I mean, there's nothing wrong with visiting unsick children, I guess.
We should cut that what you just said, put it on some sort of meme.
We could sell T-shirts. There's nothing wrong with visiting kids that are cancer-free.
But and then another one, famous one I was thinking of is the 911 comic, 9/11 comic, where 9/11 happened, and then so they published a comic right after that where Spider-Man's dealing with 9/11. It's not super actiony, but it's very emotional comic kind of.
Yeah.
So what the whole movie was trying to get at, and what I thought was brilliant, is just those comics where there's not a ton of action, and you can't really market that as a Hollywood movie. It's Spider-Man, but it's a drama. Is that really what you're trying to sell me? So I thought that would be kind of perfect for a fan film to do that because they don't have studio interference very much, and so
the premise was very respectable. I would say I'm not a Spider-Man fan per se, so I just am used to the big Hollywood productions where there's explosions and Iron Man and aliens and stuff. But yeah, the premise was intriguing at the very least.
Yeah, I thought it had potential to be the greatest Spider-Man story ever, but it has zero direction. Like you said earlier, nothing happened.
Yep.
And what I was talking about with Kevin earlier, even earlier before this, when I was trying to get through the film, is that that's not what mourning is. You're not just sitting around on your laptop looking at photos of your dead lover.
Home videos.
Yeah. Like you're trying to go through life without them, trying to figure out, like how a friend of ours, I don't want to name drop him, a friend of ours says, grieving is surviving without your loved one. And so, yeah. And when he's looking at the home videos, I'm thinking, this is way too earlier to be doing that. It's
You mean like too early in the grieving process to be doing that?
or I mean, at least I don't know about that, but at least through the way too early in just writing perspective, because I'm thinking that's more something that needs to be earned a lot more, because we don't know who Gwen Stacy is in the beginning. Like we get like 5 minutes with her where she's alive, and then it cuts after to when she's dead, and everyone's grieving that. So we have zero clue who Gwen is. Why are you showing us home videos pretending like we do?
Were they working from the assumption that we've seen enough Spider-Man media that we did know who?
Exactly, but you should always establish a connection within your film. You should if you're going to focus on that, even if you are Spider-Man fans, because the audience was definitely Spider-Man fans. It wasn't for people like you, Kevin, but people like you, Kevin,
My kind.
But it was but you should at least establish a connection. You have to make sure that connection is strong. You can't just assume that
It's already there.
Exactly. So, one, you need to establish that connection. And then you need to understand Peter's not taking it well. He's not processing it well.
Evidenced by he yells at the friends that haven't died.
Exactly. A little bit more of that, at least. Little where he's like, oh, when he's talking to the kid, and the kid reminds him of who Spider-Man's supposed to be. Then you have him looking at old videos. You have an understanding who Gwen is. You actually have a connection to the characters, because that was a big thing. A lot of people were saying that they have no connection to the characters. They don't care at all who these guys are, even if it is Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So you need to establish those two connections, have us go through a journey with an actual direction, not just everyone sitting around being sad. Go through a story, then come back, say, "Oh, we miss you, Gwen." So that's where everyone can grieve,
Yep.
the audience and Peter. So yeah, that's why I just thought that was a horribly missed opportunity. And then, yeah, it's just people sitting around being sad. What'd you think of the performances?
Better than I could do, I guess. But not. I mean, okay, I take that back. The kid was awful. I could have done better than the kid. And Flash, that's one of the guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
He had a weird smile pasted on his face the whole time. He would deliver when he was talking to MJ, he would say something that was, clichély encouraging or whatever, and then he would give a stupid grin. And so I could have done better than the sick kid and him probably, but everyone else, I guess they did fine for a fan-produced thing.
I felt like their performances would have been a lot better if they were just given better dialogue.
Yeah, that would have helped.
It's very, oh, Gwen, she's gone, and so is my dad, and I'm taking drugs. We just gotta, get through it. Like it's that kind of dialogue that Gavin has given these actors, and I definitely felt if it was more. So that, I'm just like when we talk, it's just like, yeah, I've been just, it hasn't been very fun, or I don't know. I'm trying to think of dialogue.
Or showing snippets of real life rather than every scene being flashbacks to the better times or
Exactly.
to death scenes or yeah.
Yeah, it's just there wasn't direction, there wasn't a story. It's just sitting around being sad. Speaking of the death though, me and Kevin both agree that the title sequence is beautiful.
Cool song, cool visuals. Yeah, and that's the highest part of the movie.
I mean, it really, like, not even like that's not like, oh, to say how bad the film is. Like, no, the title sequence is beautiful, cause one thing, that's where I feel like if you know the comics, you get you understand a little bit more.
Can appreciate it a little, seeing that
Yeah.
snippets of the comics.
Yeah, you understand that Gwen has died. So you have that, but then you show it through that beautiful title sequence, and like you're giving everybody context, you're giving the credits, and meanwhile you're giving everybody context. The art is gorgeous, and then that's you're giving everybody context on what's happened, and that perfectly sets up the rest of the film to be about grieving Gwen's death. Because the movie's not about Gwen dying, it's about grieving Gwen's death.
Yep.
At least that's what it's supposed to be. But, and so it's, oh my gosh, I love the title sequence so much. Anyway, and then sound, what'd you think of it?
The soundtrack was pretty, I guess. Nice motifs, and the production on it was actually pretty polished. It felt like it rarely fit, though.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, maybe that's probably due more to the constant tone of melodrama and I lost a loved one. Oh, go do your laundry. So,
What's that? I don't want to say it because I can't think of it correctly. Anyway, go on.
well, yeah, save it for another sad movie. But the sound design, again, maybe better than I could do. Maybe if I had the time and resources, I might have been able to do better. But it was, I mean, there wasn't even that much sound design that had to be done because, as we've said several times, it's just a lot of sitting around.
Yeah.
So the dialogue recording was nice. It was understand them for the most part, and there was probably a good deal of ADR, and if there was, the sync was good. We commented briefly how when Spider-Man's talking through his masks, it sounds like he has cotton balls in his mouth.
This is a detail I like.
Yes, it's an appreciated, realistic detail, I suppose. But there was one moment where the Foley for when, I don't remember who it was, but they were shaking hands, and when their hands met, it sounded like two hams being slapped together. And just listen for that if you happen to watch it. It will bring some levity to such a melodramatic 2 hours.
Yeah, that's what I hate too about it is it's not so bad it's good. Like you can't make fun of it. It's too boring.
So bad it's good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so just boring. But too though, there's the ending theme I think it is where Spider-Man's swinging through the city on a sunny day. And you can hear, if you're a fan of the 90s cartoon, you can hear the theme from that in it, and
Oh, yep.
that detail's amazing. So I think we have all our thoughts about it. Kevin has to go soon, so I wanted to talk about the controversy behind it, but I think that would be better spent because that is a very, very big topic, and I don't want to
treat it appropriately.
shove that in 5 minutes. So I think we will do that next time we record. What do you think, Kevin?
Excellent idea.
And then that would kind of fall into what you also want to talk about. Kevin has a topic he wants to talk about. Don't say it.
Oh no, I'll
Surprise.
let everyone hold their breaths.
Okay. Nagging thoughts. Is there anything you want to talk about?
I was very confused by why when he went into that kid's room, it turns out that the comics exist and there's figurines and then he goes on more sob stories about how he turned Spider-Man into like a business empire or something. It was what in the world?
I actually do have an explanation for that because there is an in-universe explanation for that.
Oh, okay.
Because there are comics in the Marvel Universe about Captain America, about Iron Man.
What?
Uncle Ben had a large catalog of Captain America, Human Torch, the original Human Torch that was an android, not the Fantastic Four one. That's another thing. And so that's because Stan Lee does in fact exist in the Marvel Universe.
Of course.
And so what he does is he contacts all these superheroes and said, hey, can you give me some of your adventures so we can turn this into a comic? And so he does get in. I can't remember what happens in the actual comic, but there is a point where I can't remember if Spider-Man blows him off or not. But so yes, Stan Lee does in fact exist in the Marvel Universe, and that's why he can make comics of all these superheroes.
I see. So that wasn't just some weird product of this fan film specifically.
No. I mean, it might become that because I don't know, so easily accessible.
Yeah.
Easy props to make. Okay, I have some nagging thoughts as well. Not about Spider-Man movie specifically, but just because of life. So Spider-Man 2 is coming out, the video game. That's gonna be Spider-Man where he has the Venom symbiote. You can play with the Venom symbiote.
Nice.
So I'm not gonna be able to play it for a while because I don't have a PlayStation 5. I'm gonna wait for it to come out on PC. But yeah, it's gonna be cool. But there is one thing. I know this is gonna sound very weird. This is gonna be so nitpicky to so many people. But I am saddened by the fact that we're not gonna have those loading screen animations anymore. Because have you seen any gameplay footage, Kevin?
Not with loading screens.
Okay, so basically there's no loading screens. The PlayStation 5 is so advanced that it doesn't need to load anymore, basically.
Nice.
So you can instantly fast travel. You can instantly switch between Miles and Peter. But there is an art to like loading screens where like in the original Spider-Man game, you want to fast travel. I don't know why you would want to fast travel because you can just swing everywhere and that's so much more fun. But if you want to save time, you can fast travel, and it just shows Spider-Man in the subway. And then there's certain animations he does where he interacts with the people.
Nice.
And so, and you can give like a bajillion different examples of that. But we're going to hit a point where like consoles are so advanced now where we're just going to lose the art of loading screens or hiding loading screens. Like in Batman, sometimes they make these super long halls so it gives it time to load. And so you're just not going to have that kind of creative process anymore.
Yeah.
It's all going to fizzle out.
I'm sure you're not the only one that's going to whisk after those.
I guarantee you there's videos on YouTube right now talking about how there's going to be the death of loading screens. Like if you guys watch Scott the Woz, I'm a big Scott the Woz fan. He talks about the most minute details in gaming. Like he talks about the blue highlights on Wii U covers.
Dang.
And how they don't look right in his video case collection. Anyway, Kevin needs to go like now. So I'm gonna save. I have other thoughts, but I'm gonna save that for another video where hopefully it would have more time.
Hopefully.
We're very busy people. Well, Kevin is. I will eventually be a very busy person.
You're a mildly busy person.
Yeah. So yeah, that's it. Thank you guys for listening. This is the Talkative's Adversarial Fair. We're gonna be posting more of these, and yeah, just tell us how what you think. Engage with us more. I'm gonna try to get this on Spotify, Apple. I haven't really figured out how we're gonna get it all in there. It'll definitely be on YouTube. So yeah, just look for us. Be prepared for us. I'm very excited with where it can go, and I hope we can just grow, be better podcasters. Anyway.
We'll see you at the next fair.